Imagine a world where cash flows regardless of market fluctuations. Now picture this, an investment that not only survives but thrives, paying you more dividends over time. That's the magic of Schwab U.S. Dividend Equity ETF. Get ready, because in this video, we are about to dive deep into the world of Dividend Growth King, SCHD. It's one of my absolute favorites, and I've got 3 compelling reasons why this ETF is more than just a buying opportunity. So, first things first, high dividend growth. Right now, if you invest in SCHD, you can grab a pretty decent 3.8% to 4% starting dividend yield with SCHD. And the real kicker is SCHD's dividends keep growing, and that's why investors are jumping in. Investing in a bunch of top-notch stocks that keep putting more money into your pocket every quarter. That's the thing that sets SCHD apart from other ETFs. In 2014, SCHD paid out a tiny 24.9 cents in dividends. Fast forward 10 years, and guess what? Now it's nearly tripled. And here's the real thing, SCHD's been pulling off some impressive 10 to 20% dividend growth in certain years. Long story short, it keeps paying more and more over time. If you are all about dividends and you are looking to rely on them for bills or retirement down the road, SCHD is one to watch. With its track record of growing dividends, it's got the potential to be your go-to trick for securing that future income. In the past 12 months, SCHD has seen a 7.13% increase. Over the last 3 years, a solid 12.33%. Extend it to 5 or 10 years and you're looking at 13.92% and 11.32% respectively. Now, why does this matter? Well, especially for folks like you, aiming to hold onto investments forever, not following retirement rules or selling off during retirement. We are talking about building a really massive dividend. And here's the dream come true feelings, where you are not just covering bills but having that extra cash to live your later years exactly as you want. For those of you aiming for that goal, to hold onto an ETF forever and let the dividend roll in, covering all your bills and more, pay attention. The dividend growth rate is your key for making it happen. Let's clear things up for those feeling a bit puzzled about why dividend growth is a big deal. The US inflation rate hovers around 3.24%, historically around 2% per year. So, even if we take a best case scenario and assume inflation continues at moderate 2 to 3% per year, it's crucial to understand why dividend growth is your secret weapon against the rising cost of living. Stay with me, it's about to make sense. Picture this, you are an investor diving into stocks or ETFs that don't boast robust dividend growth. Now, here's the catch. As the inflation rate kicks in and costs start climbing, your future dividends could take a hit. But fear not, because there's a shining star in the form of SCHD. Dive into SCHD's dividend growth rate over the past decade, and what do you find? A robust 11.32%. Even in the wild ride of 2022's inflation surge, SCHD's growth rate could still outpace the inflation monster. So, for investors eyeing a shield against the eroding effects of inflation, SCHD might just be the one ETF we need. However, it's not only about inflation. The dividend growth rate is a game changer. Now, let's zero in on SCHD and why its dividend growth rate is so important. Using a dividend calculator, kickstarting with $25,000, adding $112,000 yearly, flipping on drip and starting with a 3.5% initial dividend yield, coupled with an expected annual 8% dividend increase. Sure thing. Let's play it safe and stick with an 8% expected annual dividend amount increase for SCHD. Now, imagine investing this relatively modest sum for 30 years. Before we dive into the numbers and see what unfolds over these 3 decades, let's get a clear grip of what's happening here. Well, here comes in the compound interest. It's like a snowball effect, with interest calculated on your initial investment and reinvested dividends. As you keep snagging more SCHD shares and rolling those dividends back in, the compound effect turns your dividends into a powerhouse. Starting with $25,000, fast forward 30 years, and boom, $886,000, plus an extra $1,000 monthly. Reinvested dividends already hitting almost $190,000 and over $10,000 yearly. In year 20, and you're looking at $623,000 principal with a solid $55,000 plus annually in dividends. Now, for the savvy young investors, in 30 years, a whopping $2.25 million, racking in over $328,000 yearly in dividends. Yes, we can't predict the future, but historical data can give us a sneak peek. Picture investing investing a small sum in an ETF like SCHD, letting compound interest work its magic. Starting with a solid dividend yield and an expected 8% annual increase, even a bit lower than some past years, it's like letting the investment shooting up. We are talking about realistic expectations based on what history has shown for us. Second reason is its low expense ratio. SCHD is a top-notch player in the world of dividend growth, having a super low expense ratio of just 0.06%. SCHD is a top-notch player in the world of dividend growth, having a super low expense ratio of just 0.06%. Now, what does SCHD aim to do? Its mission is straightforward, closely mirror the total return of the Dow Jones U.S. Dividend 100 Index, and has been doing a pretty stellar job at that. But here's where it gets interesting. Recent times seen a bit of shake-up in the performance of some names within the Dow Jones U.S. Dividend 100 Index. Not everything has been sunshine and rainbows over the last year. The initial reason why you should seriously look for the Schwab U.S. Dividend Equity ETF as a massive buying opportunity boils down to the patience game. For investors like me, who are in for the long run, willing to buy in and play the waiting game, SCHD seems like a gem worth considering. You see, SCHD has a knack for delivering substantial returns over time, despite the recent hiccups in some of the stocks within the Dow Jones U.S. Dividend 100 Index, which SCHD tracks. I see this as a temporary blip. It's like a sale on quality stocks. And what do you know about sales? They are prime time to buy. If you found any value so far, please like and subscribe. Now let's talk about another reason why Schwab U.S. Dividend Equity ETF is presenting a golden opportunity for investors who are in for the long haul. It is of course attractive valuation and potential for growth. Looking for some other reason why the Schwab U.S. Dividend Equity ETF should be on your radar? It's a straightforward answer. Right now, it's hanging out near its yearly low, and not too far back, it was close to $80 per share. Talk about growth. It has a commendable track record boasting a solid 16.27% increase. Rewind the clock a decade, and it was holding steady in the mid-20s, steadily on the race. Now, let's fast forward and bring in the Federal Reserve's rate discussions. There's chatter about potential rate cuts next year, and that's the kind of news that could make stocks and ETFs like SCHD light up with gains. It's like the stars are aligning for some serious growth potential. So buckle up, because the ride might just be getting started. Time to dive in and see where this upward momentum takes us. Get ready for the Schwab U.S. Dividend Equity ETF to make some serious moves, especially before we hit 2024. Why the anticipation? Well, here's the scoop. There's a major league shake up in the works. We are talking about an upcoming reconstruction that's about to stir the pot. New stocks are gearing up to step into the spotlight, while a few old ones are gracefully making their exit. It's like a strategic game changer, and the savvy move is to be in the game before the shuffle hits. This reconstruction, slated for 2024, is the kind of event that could inject new life into SCHD, and getting in before the action starts should be your best move. Schwab U.S. Dividend Equity ETF is a strong choice for making money in an uncertain market. It regularly pays dividends, and these payments keep getting bigger. A solid 11.32% growth rate proves that. If you grasp how compound interest works, you will see the potential for serious profits over time. This isn't just about keeping your finances steady, it's about building a growing income source. Right now, SCHD is gearing up for some changes, and it's a good time to jump in, especially since it's trading at a low. Don't miss the opportunity for potential gains before things shake up in 2024. It's time to make a smart financial moves and secure your future with Schwab U.S. Dividend Equity ETF. So, there you have it. 3 rock-solid reasons why the Schwab U.S. Dividend Equity ETF is your golden ticket, especially before this year bows out. Now that you are convinced that SCHD ETF might be a good choice for your portfolio, check out the video about how $100,000 investment in SCHD ETF will generate passive income for a lifetime. But hey, I'm not the only voice here. Drop your reason below on why it's a top buy before 2024. Your thoughts fuel the conversation. Smash that like button and subscribe for more money talks, and dive into these recent videos to continue learning and growing.